So we are going to start recording. So Paige, Ellie and Cal, I'm going to make this a little bit more interactive, being just the four of us, but I'll also do this as a recording for our team as well, because we want to make sure that we're communicating this rhythm with everyone else. So, I had a really great chat with Cal today, and we were talking about, it's nice to have all this self-development and all this growth and these systems, these procedures, and it's like there's all this hoo-ha of like Raw's made us a millionaire and blah, blah, blah. So there's all this proof of concept and belief, but then there becomes a point where it's like, okay, how do I make it real for me? And I think that's what I want to make this really, this session about. And also for this year, what I've realized is some wisdom that I can share is in the different elements of my life, that if there's a clear target or a clear goal that we're consistently working towards, then it becomes easy for the who and the how to show up. But if we're struggling just to pick a direction and we're stuck in this self-development jungle of self-help and needing to know more to do more and so on and so forth, then we can get anxious, we can get overwhelmed, we can feel like we're not making any progress, it feeds into comparison, and it takes away from the simplicity of helping people integrate intermittent fasting, some high vibration plants and some smoothie bowls into their life so that we can be very helpful and service-based and customer-centric and help them solve a problem that was solved for us once upon a time, which we usually engage through our own story, right? Because that's all we can share. We don't need to be a product expert. We don't need to be the bearer of all the messages and all the knowledge when we've got an amazing network and team that we can leverage off. Realistically, we can all agree that intermittent fasting, plants, smoothie bowls, like more and more and more, this is becoming more and more common, and we're seeing more and more solutions solved by food as a foundation. So we can all agree that this concept it speaks for itself. In the same way I did a post the other day about the iPhone, like the iPhone speaks for itself because it solves a problem. It's a good product. So we don't need to sit there and talk about the specs of the iPhone. We might to certain people, but the 90% of people will buy the iPhone because they saw their friend using it and it was easier than using the Samsung. So it made their life easier and it solved a problem for them. And then all of a sudden, iPhone becomes such a big household name that everyone's using an iPhone, right? Or a Samsung or vice versa. So, and again, people who like Samsung, they probably won't like iPhone in the same way. Some people are so attached to acai bowls. They might not ever look at something different, right? Because they're so attached to what solved a problem for them. I had a friend come up to me and he's so attached to Metamucil because this fiber-based drink, and he's like, I want to become a product ambassador for that because it helped him solve his problem. So I want to really shift this to becoming customer-centric this year and just having a rhythm that I can help set as a leader, and then we can all work from, and then collectively get our momentum up together. So how does that sound? Big thumbs up? Yep. Okay. So the thing with Bob Proctor, he said, when you make a decision, you flip your brain into a different frequency and you begin to attract whatever is on that frequency. So Nikola Tesla, energy, vibration, frequency, however you're showing up right now, you're attracting that. If you're overwhelmed, you're going to attract overwhelm. If you are unsure, uncertain, you're going to attract uncertainty and more questions, right? So if we can and really get confidence in our own self and our own being and our own story, then all we can do is operate from that space in service of others, and then this becomes really simple. The rhythm for this year is epic because I'm big picture. And if I can give you the certainty that there's some rhythms that we can tune into, then this all becomes a lot easier. So over the next couple of months, go out and do your promotions. Do your attract people and have conversations about, you might do a Jan 14th promotion like the boys did, or you might do a post-summer body thing, or, people in the UK might be coming into their post-winter thing. So you can start to attract people based on what their wants, needs, and desires are. But what tends to happen, and just to give you guys a bit of an overview, is every time there is a celebration, there is usually a promotion, a company and corporate promotion off the back of it. So rather than you feeling like you have to reinvent the wheel, all you have to do is attract in your own unique way, leveraging all that stuff that's going on. So there'll be like crystal circle resets. There'll be, start leadership retreats. There'll be all these promotions and incentives to incentivize you guys to help more people, which is all it is. Because they know the product's good. They know that the service is good. We've got proof of concept. I think 600,000 people now, right? So you don't need to sit there and convince people. You just need to attract and find and connect the right people, help them have an amazing service, an amazing result. And then for people that capture the vision of, okay, holy crap, this is a side hustle that can actually generate income, that can pay off your mortgage and so on and so forth, then it becomes a whole different value stream and a whole different customer, because you're attracting people who are looking at ideal day, people are looking at freeing their time, and they're two different avatars, right? So if you're clear with that, then this becomes super easy. So off the back of ANZ celebration, what tends to happen is we'll do a 90-day game plan. Now, the biggest problem I see here is people go like, ooh, 90-day game plan. All it is 90 days of consistency. That's all it is. It's you having a clear what by when. So like Cal was like, okay, imagine if I could earn, my living expenses for the year, like 40 grand. And it's like, cool. All right, let's reverse engineer that. If you made 10 grand a quarter by helping people with this program, would that be epic? He'd be like, sick. Because then that just adds on to what he's already doing with adventure camps and little things he does for cash flow. And then that becomes an add-on. So that becomes a $10,000 per quarter promotion, right? Or a value add to his life. So what we do is off the back of celebration, rather than going like straight into like, rah, it's like, okay, let's do celebration, get around the team, build belief, build confidence, get our little things tuned in so that we can launch and do a little pre-launch in March. So pre-launch is out there when we're actually in motion. We're talking to people with certainty. And we're like, hey, we got these things starting, say, April 1st. Who wants to get involved? Then we got something starting May, and then we got something starting June. But it's not like, what is it today? Jan 20 or whatever, or 23. And we're like, hey, there's a thing starting on Jan 24. Now, yes, that might work with some people, but some people like to create that attraction, that curiosity, and then lead in, and then you can qualify the right people. And then the everyday, day-to-day stuff, you meet people like, yeah, I want to get started now. It's like, sick. All right, let's get started. But we can actually start to create a bit of movement around that. So March, we'll do a pre-launch, and then we'll do 9 days consistency off the back of that. And then just to let you know, if you do 2 of these a year, if you do 2 of these in your 5-year lifetime as a network marketer, you're almost guaranteed to create a 6-figure residual income just by doing 2 90-day game plans properly over a 5-year period, right? Dave and Irene told me that. I kind of believed him. But then I really believed him. And then sure enough, 5.5 years later, I've ticked over the 7-figure mark, right? So all I did was believe that. I fumbled and farted my way through the first couple of 90-day game plans, thought I was doing it, but wasn't doing it. And it was learning, earning, leading, learning, earning, leading. And I'm still doing it to this day, right? So I'll be doing these promotions with you in the same way that you'll be doing it for you. So we'll be learning and growing as we grow together. So just put these things in your calendar. So I think 12 months ahead, we got celebration in Feb. So hopefully everyone's coming. We've got a pre-launch in March, and then we've got 90 days of consistency off the back of that. Then we've got global celebration in August. Off the back of August, we got a pre-launch in September, and then in 90 days of consistency again. So again, if you're starting to attract business builders or business-orientated people, you can actually direct them to say like, hey, enjoy the products for now, be a product sharer and share it with a couple of people. And it's like, hey, we've got actually like a little business incubator, got a pre-launch starting in September, and then 9 days of consistency starting in October. So you can actually start attracting people to get in flow and in rhythm and in momentum with you, rather than being like, hey, product user, like, boom, let's go business builder. You know what I mean? So we can actually show that we've got a bit of structure and consistency. Now, the other structure and consistency we've got is events. So this is the most important thing, is that the most highest paid skill as a network marketer is what? Paige, Ellie, Cal, Tully, can anyone tell me what the highest paid skill as a network marketer is?
Believing in it.
Is what?
Believing in it? I don't know.
Well, belief is good, but Ellie's nailed it. Getting or attracting people to events. And why do you think events are the key thing that allow us to really duplicate our business?
Because they do the work for you.
They do the work for you. But also you're leveraging some really intelligent people, right? So like Kathy Coover said it from day one, you get paid to connect. The compensation plan, everything, the product works, the scientific team, the compensation plan, all those things have proof of concept. You literally just get paid to connect. The better you get at connecting, the better you get at attracting and instilling belief. Gabrielle Dean does it. She gets really excited. People come to events. You know, like my biggest thing is I'm definitely not the most skilled network marketer in the world, but I remember when my business turned, when we had about 60 to 70 people in my downline at one celebration. And then it was like, funny enough, like 6 months later, the whole thing just went bananas. And it's like, if you look at that in your own team, imagine if you look at your back office and you're looking at your event tickets, and this is a measurable thing, right? This is something that you can measure, is go look now in your back office and be like, how many people in my downline have got events to celebration? How many event tickets, have they got event tickets to UAA? Have they got event tickets to so on and so forth? Because if you understand that your highest paid skill as a network marketer is your ability to connect and attract people to events, then that will be your one KPI for your business. You're like the overarching one long-term, right? Now, the overarching KPI, and when KPI is probably not the right word, but the thing that will reflect the amount of abundance and your ability to really tune into the flow that Isagenix is giving, which is this multi-billion-dollar flow and energy where 50% of it, their profits go to their people, and they're finding unique ways to make sure that 50% adds up every year by doing executive retreats and Machu Picchu this and blah, blah, blah. If you learn to tune into that, and you learn, like the Lavis have learned to do, is just to play the game, you can have an impact. You can get, I think they impacted 20 or 30 people over a 4-month period, and they won trips to here and trips to there, and like Isagenix awards and so on and so forth. And I think they're cycling, 10 or so times a week. And it's like they've got this residual income plus all these bonuses and everything else, right? As they're building their business 2 or 3 years in, imagine what happens in the 4th and 5th year, 6th year, things like that. It just builds and builds and builds. And as using them as an example, their next step is learning to duplicate as well. So duplicate leaders, which means that it's separating from self, which means getting people to events, which means it's not about you, which means they start following Eric Coover or they listen to Peter Kelly. They're not borrowing your truth. They get their own instilled belief and they start figuring out how to do it in their own way. In the same way, Ellie, Carol Page, I know you're doing it, and Tully's leading his own team, the Thrive Tribe, and so on and so forth, right? So have a look at your back office. This is a big asterisk, and I'll put a post in BFREE or whatever group, your business group you're working from at the moment, and just comment how many people in your downline are going to the next Isagenix celebration, which would be in Brisbane. And also notice how many have you got going to UIA? How many have you got going to IC Uni? How many did you have a New Year's kickoff? And what you can really start to do is start to test and measure this stuff. And then you can build towards and be like, okay, I had 2 at celebration last year. How do I get 10 this year? How do I get 30 the year after? How do I get 50? How do I get 60? How do I get 100? Rory told me that when he had 70 at one Isagenix celebration, that his whole business just started to duplicate without him. So it's like using that as a goal, how do I attract to that point, right? So that's a whole different kettle of fish. Now, coming back to what we're on about tonight, and Tully, I'm not sure if you captured this, man, but just tuning into the rhythm is we're going to focus on a pre-launch off the back of Isagenix celebration in Australia, and then 90 days of consistency after that. So the key thing there, Tal, was that usually we launch straight into a 90-day game plan without any pre-launch, and everything Eric Coover does is Eric Worre does is like 30 days of pre-launch and then 90 days of consistency. So let's run that 120-day cycle. Do it once a year, do it twice a year, do it no times a year. But just know that we'll keep running this format in the years to come. And when you're ready to step up and step into it, there's a rhythm for you to tune into. The simplicity is to help 2 people, and then to help 2 people help 2 people, and then repeat that 10 times. And that's my one focus for my promotion, my personal promotion off the back, or my personal goal, profitable project, abundance project, whatever you want to call it, whatever language works with your money language, is to do that off the back of celebration. So I know that for me, to get to Crystal Exec, that say I've got 3 or 4 active consultants now, or active business builders, that means I need to find 6 more people, which means that I probably need to chat to 100 people. Probably need to enroll about, maybe, I don't know, 60 odd new people and introduce them to intermittent fasting and smoothie bowls, high vibration plants, this Isagenix tribe and this community that we have, so that 6 of them will probably end up sharing it. Do you know what I mean? So if we start to reverse engineer those numbers, then this becomes a little bit easier. But also it's like you can really test and measure and be like, okay, I've helped 2 people. I've helped 6 people. I've helped 10 people. Now, if you have trouble helping 2 people, then it just means that you're still in self-development mode. You're still so worried about yourself that you haven't been able to share it from a point of what's in it for them. And the truth is, like, you could bypass that in an instant by saying, who wants to do it with me? You could bypass it in an instant by like just setting a challenge up with friends and, building a tribe or connecting with some other tribes, or like, Tully or Paige. I know you guys are doing some stuff down south, and then feeding in off that energy, right? And then people want to be doing it with you together, and you could create a whole level of impact just by leveraging the people you have in your current tribe and community. I saw Ben Kelly leverage Peter Kelly for his entire 3 to 4 years, right? And he had to get up on stage, share his story every now and again, but Peter was driving the ship. So each of us can play our role and leverage off each other, and that's all okay. But that's the simplicity. And you might do the one off the back of ANZ celebrations to get to director. So it might only to get to level 6, to help 6 people share with 2 people. It might be to get to executive. It might be just to get some skin in the game and get to manager. That might be your first focus, whilst also having a really good product experience. So wherever you're at, it's okay, but just know that we're going to run this once, then we'll repeat it and do it again. And know that once you've done it once, you can improve the next time, and then improve the next time, improve the next time. And the key thing here, guys, is this impact meter. And I always bring this up because people get really overwhelmed with this, is they think they have to save the world. And it's like, realistically, all you have to do is start with yourself. And I saw, Ellie, I think we had this conversation last time about like just having an epic 30-day product experience. I shared something in BFREE about Cameron Byford, who we saw was like number 3 starter ambassador, like income earner, blah, blah, blah. We had a conversation in Bali, and she wasn't being a product of the product. And she was like, man, I'm struggling to like X, Y, and Z and my emotions and this. And she was just out of alignment with her own rituals. So it was hard for her to attract people into her rhythm and her rituals, to then attract people to the product and the service and the thing that she was trying to help them with, right? So, and I just said to her, I was like, man, just when you go home and all this flux and chaos of being in Bali finishes, just set aside 30 days and just focus on being the best version of yourself. Become so freaking attractive, so energetic, and then like everything else is there. And then all you have to do is connect people to help them make their own informed decision, and then we're up and away. So you might be at level 1. You might be at just solving a problem for yourself. Then you train yourself. How do you then help people? You could go help 10 people, do a simple promotion off the back of summer. Like, it could be, I don't know, what are some examples, Paige, Ellie, Cal? What are some like things you could think of that would attract people to do this program with you?
For myself, what's coming through for me is like a reclaiming of power, reclaiming of self. Like, kind of chat with you today, Rory, like just experiencing fatigue and not really tapping into my fountain of youth, you know what I mean? And I believe that there'll be many people experiencing the same thing. So really I see that as a leverageable, as a way to, as a promotion, is like, let's get ourselves back. Like, let's stop feeling this way.
And that's a really cool thing. So the authenticity, honesty of story, right? And the thing is, you can start sharing this from a space of just sharing that to create attraction, to be honest, to be real. And then, like you could do something in a couple of weeks and be like, man, like I solved that problem. And then people ask how, and you're like, it creates curiosity, right? Because like what you're doing is you're being very customer centric. You're sharing their story for them. You're like, hey man, honest and vulnerable. And it's like, I've got this problem. I've got fatigue, and like, I'm a healthy dude. Like I'm doing all these things, but what I actually learned is X, Y, and Z. And yeah, like food is part of the thing. It was probably like the 60% of the puzzle, but it also gave me the structure and stability to then, right? So you can share with your own authenticity and honesty that story, and I think that's where we create a lot of attraction. And you could probably, like you said, Cal, owning that space and taking back your own power and really sharing from that space will attract, you can attract 10 people doing that easily. Ellie said, loads of stories. Explain to me what you mean by loads of stories.
I wrote that before when you were talking about celebration and why it's important to get people there.
Yep.
Yeah, but I wrote for this one, I was like, just authentically sharing my own experience. Like, I'm like a closet Isagenix user. I don't really like share about it in my Instagram or my social media or whatever that often. And I have this like split when people ask me like, what do you do? I will talk about my spiritual stuff or my coaching or whatever, but I don't always talk about ISA. Even though ISA is like for everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember Isagenix is like the company brand. Isagenix is like the product, right? And I'll get to this in a second. It's like when you talk about it, share your story. Share it from that spiritual sense. Share it from that energetic sense. Share like how you helped solve that problem, right? Because it's like, and this is what we get so caught up on is like, I'm here working alongside the entrepreneur resorts, and I'm not talking about their wealth dynamics profile and how awesome that is and like the different genius levels and come to this retreat and that and that. I meet people who are on an entrepreneurial journey and they want to solve that problem. And I'm like, hey man, check out this tribe. Hey man, when I was in this store, like this is what my story was. And when I tuned into that and I figured out this was a solution that I found. So they're like, shit, epic. And then if someone wanted to like come into this community, I'd connect them with someone else who could reinforce that, but then probably also help them take the next step, which is, finding out which pathway within that network would work for them, right? We do the same with ISA. We've got so many amazing products, Healthy Mind and Body Program, 9-day reset, 30-day reset. We've got the ISA Body Challenge. We've got all these cool things, right? And each of them solves a problem for individuals. And if you relate that back to your personal story, and like you said, you get out there and you authentically share your own experience, it becomes easier than like being a banner for Isagenix or, the spiritual business or what you do, right? You become your story, and then you just have a tool belt which you can share with people and you can direct it. And it's like, hey, this is how I got on top of my digestive health. And then it leads back into how'd you do that? Creates curiosity, intermittent fasting, this, that, and the other. Hey, check it out, right? Does that seem a bit easier than it all being separate? Yep. So imagine you're a flower with different petals. Each petal is one of the tools in your belt, right? But it all feeds the same flower. Cal, what about you, man? Yeah, Cal, you go.
I was just going to say, this is something that's just come up for me in my mind and may come up for others, is like, I feel like I did my initial 30-day reset. So then that's it. It's like I've used that now, like that. I've used that card. But the thing is, I can just do another 30-day reset and just share as I would have from the first time around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And your transformation in the last 12 months is phenomenal. Like you've got one of the healthiest rigs I've seen, but it's like now you might be using, you might be integrating these processes for a digestive and a mental and emotional thing, right? And it might be a different story. So it's like, hey, the first time I did this to get ripped. All the guys will be like, fuck yeah, like I'd love to have a body like Cal. And then it's like the second time, I did this was more like I found that I leveled up from like 60 to 80%. And now I'm learning how to level up from 80 to 100%, which is like fine tuning processes and rituals. And it's like, what I notice now is when my digestive health is off, my mental health is off. When I'm like, when I'm in too much flux or, I lose my structure, then it's like, holy shit, like I get lost in it all. And it's like, this solves that for X, Y, and Z for me. And you can share from that place and you can attract people from that space. So that's really cool too, Cal. Hey, Tal, I was just going to say, man, how would you go about attracting, 10 newbies with what you know now?
The easiest way is like stories and posts. Like even just doing that for the Thrive Tribe, I've attracted more. And to be honest, like, cause I've been around it so long, what works best for me is actually just direct asks. Like I'll literally just voice message somebody and say, I thought of them, give them the reason I thought of them, ask if they're open to taking a look. And that has been if I reflect on, say, people who have actually come in and enrolled and the journey's been quite good, the people who I've just directly spoken to, or just sent a message to and said, hey, I thought of you because of this. Because I'm similar to Ellie, like I haven't been able to answer the question, what do you do, for about 4 years.
Yeah, I'm the same. And it's only getting clearer now that, you know, and this is the thing, is you start to cast the vision. Like I believe in good health and well-being for all people at all ages, right? I believe in creating blue zone communities, you know, like, so it's like, cool, I believe in that too. And it's like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I'm a physio, I've partnered with a nutritional company, I'm part of an entrepreneur movement, I've written a book, you know, I do these retreats. So then it like feeds off into the different value streams and little parts that they can tune into with me. But I start by casting a vision. Yeah. I just find, for me personally, Telly, you might relate, is that casting the vision, it's easier than saying, hey, you know, I work for Isagenix, or I work for this physio company, or so on and so forth, right? Cool. All right. So just have a think about that, because we're going to get the ball rolling now, and we're going to start to, over the coming months, we're going to be so them focused, like it's ridiculous. So you want to really get clear on, and like say Cal, like if I take you off mute, who are the main people that you seem to attract? Is it males or females? Who are the ones that reach out and say, hey dude, you're inspiring. How do you do what you do? Sorry, man, can't hear you.
I said I've attracted more females on my journey so far.
Okay, interesting. And why do you think they're attracted to you?
I think because of my level of authenticity and genuineness. People believe in what I have to say.
Yep. And you're a good-looking young dude who's fit and healthy.
Yep.
Yeah. And you've also got this level of like healthy masculine, healthy feminine as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just that sense of openness, you know, and then obviously females are generally quite more open. So they're more willing to talk and have a conversation, where the fellas are probably just wanting it, but a little bit shy about it.
And they're probably intimidated by you, man, because, you know, you're a conscious, young, good-looking dude. You're probably going to piss more young dudes off than attract them. The ones that'll be attracted to you will be, you know, people like Benny Arnold and guys that are conscious, and you're a leader to them. You know what I mean? Like they want to be more conscious. They want to be fit and healthy like you. You know what I mean? So you can attract a tribe of that, but the people that are actually coming to you are these women, right? So then you start thinking of like, okay, well, what type of stories am I going to share to attract people to the ability for me to help them? And imagine you got 5 stories of 5 different women that you've helped, or even leverage stories from the community. And you're like, man, I was really inspired by, you know, Paige's transformation over the last like 30 days. It was really cool to play a role in her experience. And she messaged me just randomly off Instagram one day, and now her result is this with problem X, Y, Z, and now it's this, right? And then you can start like putting this out into the world, and then all of a sudden you'll find that there's this flow, and they're like more and more women will message you like, okay, how'd you do that, man? Like, do you know what I mean? So if we can tune in with with the people that we're attracting for that, then it becomes a lot easier. Paige, what about you? Who do you find is coming to you and asking about what you're doing?
Probably more women. I definitely think I would get more women. I don't get people asking a lot, but like if I do, it's usually women. So that's probably probably the people that I talk to the most, because I feel like within myself I'm actually a little bit nervous to talk about it to guys. I feel more comfortable talking about like helping people with their health and like growing within themselves more with women. But for men, it's probably a bit more difficult for me.
Yep. And do you feel like you've done like a solid like 30 days, like 100% trust the process did it for you? Have you done that up until this point?
As in like business-wise, or just like the products?
The products, yeah.
Products. Yeah, like I've taken them every single day. I haven't, like, to be honest, I haven't been as good as like with my other meals as I could have, but I've actually just like started a program with Kurt for a workout program. So now I'm starting to actually just go really hard at it. But I've had the products every day, so I've done well, but I think I definitely could be better. And that's why.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, sorry, keep going. It just cut out there.
I was just going to say that I definitely think I could do better with it. So yeah, like starting yesterday, 2 days ago, I've actually just like started to go really hard with it and actually meal prepping and going hard at it.
Yeah. Is that challenging for you to talk about that?
Talk about like the fact that I haven't done as well as I wanted to?
No, just your own journey and like really owning that space. Is it challenging to own that story, or is it quite easy?
I don't know. It's probably a bit of both. Like I'm probably in the middle. Like sometimes I'll find it challenging, and then sometimes I'll find it easy. Like I guess it depends on what mind frame I'm in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So imagine this, right? Over the next 30 days, like you set a what by when. It's like, hey, I'm going to do this for me. And you just get so honed in on your own rituals and like, integrating your food and movement and all those type of things. And you become the healthiest version of yourself. And like, that's your one sole focus. How many people do you think will start to notice and start to ask you, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I hope a lot.
Okay. Now when that does happen, what do you do? Do you connect them with Ellie? Do you connect them with Cal? What do you do?
I'll probably chat to them and then probably either connect them with one of you who I think that is best fit for them.
Yeah.
If it's a male or whatever wanting to, get fit, I'll be like, cool, it'll definitely be Cal. Or if it's someone like wanting to look for more business or that business building side of things or gentleness on the body, then I'd probably go for Ellie. Ellie's usually my go-to, probably because I feel comfortable with Ellie. So she's usually my go-to, but I think I need to spread that out a little bit more and like actually direct them to the right people.
And this is the thing, like me and Tal find, like if you get people on a call with us, 80% of people get started. Like that's where it's at these days, right? So the challenge then is getting them on a call and just connecting and getting them in our space, right? If you connected with me 2 or 3 years ago, I would have gone on about the products for about 25 minutes and not identified any of their problems and just basically talk them out of it, right? So, and the thing is the more and more you work with people like Tully or myself, the more and more you can sit back and listen and just learn the language and notice the questioning rather than the telling. And then guiding people towards their own self-realization and their own informed choice. And then the costing and the pricing it's just a matter of timing and things like that, So I just wanted to share that with you because then it becomes quite easy. Like imagine you just had an epic, or when you do have this amazing, personal internal transformation, and then all these people start asking, like imagine 100 people start asking you, and you literally just connected them all with me, Tully, Ellie, and Cal, and like 80% of those people just got started with the program. You're so busy, like trying to help support them and connect them that, things really start to develop for you. And then all it is a matter of like, holy shit, how do I manage this many people? You plug them into the group, you plug them into the systems. And it's like, holy shit, there's all these people that want to share with other people because they're getting such great results. What do? Get them to an event, get them on a call with Rory, Tully, Ellie. You know what I mean? And it becomes really simple then, hey?
Yeah.
That's network marketing. Yeah. So how would you feel if the next 30 days for you is just to nail your goals with Kurt, integrate what you know about food, make sure your meals are a bit more mostly plant-based, less of the emotional eating, less of the boredom eating, and then just trust the process and just master the 30-day process with this program. Because once you become product to product, you can then relate with people, because it's like people are like, oh, I'm thinking about cutting out on this fasting day. And you're like, yeah, I did that too. And like, yeah, it's okay. Then you're like, nah, man, back it in. Like, because as soon as you back it in, it's like, yeah, I understand that challenge. I got those same headaches, but get through it and you get this result. You know what I mean? So then it's like, Otherwise, we tend to feed into their stories a little bit if we haven't yet passed that challenge ourselves. And then just watch how many people are drinking into your space. And then it's just a little handball over here, handball over there. And then you don't have to say anything. You just have to be yourself, be awesome, and just connecting with the right people.
Okay, so I'm going to like social media, all of this stuff, like when I'm doing this transformation, like tell people what I'm doing or whatever, and social media the shit out of it.
No, just I think say less for now. Like give yourself a week or 2 weeks of actually getting in motion for yourself, and then like you can like maybe do 1 or 2 little things, but jump on Isagenix business and have a look at that. But realistically for you, people, what I find is people talk about it before they do it. I'd rather you get in motion with it and then start to share the experience once you're in motion with it. Does that make sense? Rather than talking about getting in motion and then kind of getting in motion and then beating yourself up because you're not in as much motion as you said you were going to be on the social media post. Yeah? So do it for you, get in motion, then start to drip feed and share and curiosity. And it's like, and then 30 days is like, Paige was here and now she's here. People are like, holy shit, how'd you do that in 30 days? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That's attraction.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, so the big thing here, guys, is like when you're being, and also whilst you're doing this, you start going, well, I'm attracting more women, right? And the honesty of your stories, like what type of stories do women like you have, Paige, when you're going through this? Note it down. Note down all the challenges, because I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are going through the exact same thing. Then once you overcome the challenge, you share how you overcame the challenge. And you do it from an honest and vulnerable space, right? And then there's other ones like aspirational problems. So, say if we flip from like product user, product sharer to attracting like people who want the freedom lifestyle, people who want to work from their laptops and do their travel around the world. If people have that aspiration of like, hey man, I want to learn how to work from a computer. I want like the business side really interests me. Get them on a phone call with me. Because what am I doing? I'm doing that. I'm living the ideal day, living the ideal lifestyle. 5 years ago, I wasn't. So I'm happy to have that conversation and cast the vision for those people. And then that way you get to be like, hey man, I'm learning how to do it too. Let's do it together. Let's figure it out. And there's key mentors in the group. There's key events they can plug into. They get into the self-development network. They start growing. They get healthier. They're around vibrant, healthy people. They probably find a girlfriend like Tully, which then becomes your wife. And then it can cascade. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool. So the first thing is like identifying the problem and think about what was your problem when you started? What was your actual problem when you started? What was your actual problem? And just have a think about that. Then the promise is like when you call people into this network, like what are you actually, when you're sharing your story, how is this solution actually superior? It might be like I tried X, Y, Z, blah, 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 and this is my end result. So there needs to be some level of social proof, right? And also like, the little things with ISO, the biggest thing that gets people across the line is like, man, it's like worst case scenario is you do it and you can get your money back. Like there's no risk. Just give it a crack. Like if you get to the point where you're on the fence, just like do it for yourself. If you don't like it, send it back, get your money back, right? And it's like, that is often enough for people to get across the line. And that's something I share in 3-way calls when people are like umming and ahhing. The product, what is the product? The product is the product, man. Like just get to know it. It's fasting, it's high vibration plants, it's smoothie bowls. And like just get to know a little bit about the ingredients. You don't need to be a product expert, but just be able to talk about it in a way that people are like, oh, you're like, yeah, man, intermittent fasting. Like that's a big like trigger word. Everyone wants to do it these days. How do you find it? What did it do for you? It's like, yeah, I did this and this. Smoothie bowls, what do you use? Oh man, I use this little base. I add this and this, right? And it's like, oh, why do you use that over that? And it's like, well, this one's no compromise, that one isn't. So you like it can be that simple. And it's like, well, why use these plants rather than those plants? Like, well, about Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, it's like, it's based on that. And it's weaved throughout it. And they're like, well, tell me more about it. You're like, well, to be honest, man, I'm not an expert, but have a chat with this person, or here's a link, or here's a tool. Do you know what I mean? So then it can become really, really, really simple. So the product is to know ISA product AU in detail and know where to send people, know where to direct people, after a 3-way call. Proof, it's all around us. It should be the proof should be in you. The proof should be in your community. It should be in your tribe. You should be able to leverage other people's stories. Like the proof is everywhere. Like it's freaking everywhere. The biggest pain point for people not starting this program is often that they've been introduced by someone that was trying to sell them on the product or the business without identifying what their actual problem was. And it became so pushy that people just like, it's like me like telling you to buy an iPhone. You like get to the point, you're like, I don't want a fucking iPhone. And it's like, could be the best product in the world, but it's because Rory's been buying an iPhone for 20 years and my ego's been up my ass. I'm not going to buy the freaking iPhone because he's been trying to push it on me for that long, right? So, we don't want to be that. We want to be the attraction, the problem solvers, the connectors, and connect them to the proof and the solution for them. If it's an overweight dude who's tried everything under the sun, find another overweight dude who's tried everything under the sun who solved his problem. You know what I mean? Share that story and you'll get them and you'll attract them. And then the bigger why is like this link back to the bigger vision. Link back to, so why do you partner with Isagenix? Like, well, man, I started for my own health. But then I captured the vision. And I was like, what's the vision? And then you go into that. And you can start to share like stories of people within the community, tribes, the type of people you hang around. Tell you myself, Ellie, Carol, Paige. You know what I mean? And it's like there's this high vibing crew. And it just so happens that they all, integrate these processes into their life. Come get involved. And also your personal mission might be, it might be, I don't know, it might just be introducing this into people's lives, introducing people into network marketing, knowing that they don't have to live work a 9 to 5 every day, like whatever it is, like link it to your own personal vision, brand and story. Cool. And the biggest challenge for customers getting started, or the first 10 people, is price. So when you're running these promotions is there'll be the objection around price. And just as an example, Paige or Ellie, how do you go around the price discussion? Like, how do you work through that?
I usually just say, how much would you normally invest in to start your business and to kickstart your health? Or I would just break it down to, I don't know, like $20 a day, or just break it down and then ask them like, how much is your health and happiness worth? Usually,
Yeah, they're good. They're great questions. My personal suggestion, early in the piece, is just get them on a phone call with Tully, myself, or Carl, or someone who's run through it a couple of times. Because what we'll be able to do is we'll just break it down. But like, so how much are you already spending on X, Y, and Z? How much would you pay to solve that problem? So then you get these numbers and you're reframing it in their own mind. And then when you get to the point where it's like, hey, dude, it's like $13 a day or something. And then it's like, worst case scenario, you can get your money back. Like, there's no reason why you wouldn't try it. And for a lot of people, we project our own money limiting beliefs onto others. So having a lot of clarity and certainty, like $600 for these products is freaking ridiculous. Like, it's, man, like, just go have a look at what people are spending on like one little aloe vera gel something. It's like $60. Have a look at what people are spending on these like vegan whole food meals, which have 1/3 of the nutrition density, let alone like the background and the scientific proof and the no compromise products in them. You know what I mean? So and again, there's no competition. This becomes complementary. But just notice those pricing objections, and the simplest thing would be to get them on a call with someone else and let them work through it, and then help move them across the line. But Ellie, how do you find you get past the pricing objection?
I usually break down people's expenditures that they're already having. And I find most people are spending loads on like lunch breaks or coffee or energy drinks or all sorts of shit like that. And then when I expand that for a month and compare, it just ends up being a no-brainer for them.
Easy. Becomes a no-brainer, right? So that's basically we're going to keep it super simple tonight, guys. Like, what I really want to tune you in with is the rhythm for this year, so we can start communicating this as a team. You guys are leaders. So we've got the celebration, and we'll focus on that in Feb. Off the back of it, we'll do a 30-day pre-launch, and then we'll do 90 days of consistency, right? So we can run that as a team across the board. How we do our little funky little promotions individually throughout that is fine. But we can run that as rhythm. We can leverage each other. You'll know that I'll be in motion at that time. You know that Tully will be in motion at that time. You know that Cal will be in motion at that time. You know, hopefully Paige and Elle, you guys are in motion at that time. And then we're all in motion together. It becomes so much easier to be like, hey, Ross, can you jump through? Like, oh, yeah, no worries. Boom, done. And it just like, it becomes synchronous rather than like, you know, at the moment, if I'm not in motion. So it's like trying to get me to come out and do a call or something whilst I'm in the middle of a retreat. It's really quite hard to get me. But when I'm in motion with you guys, you could book me out for like 12 hours a day. We could sit there and you get 100 people. I'll sit down and go on a phone call with every single one of them with you, if that's what you want to do, right? So that's the whole point about that structure is being in momentum together, and doing it off the back end of celebration is really powerful. So just a big asterisk, the one thing I want you to do tonight, guys, is go into your back office, and I want you to look and just see how many people in your team are going to Isagenix celebration. And that's your one key measure for the success of your business this year, is how many people are coming to that event. And like, I really, 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 really need you to get this, because that is the one measure that I saw really triple my business and create duplication and create residual income. Everything up until that point was working income. It was working hard to find people, attract them, keep them. But as soon as like there was duplication and people started getting it for themselves by coming to events, hearing it from other leaders like them, they believed it for themselves. There wasn't borrowed belief. They're still here doing it regardless of whether I'm here or not. You know, and that's like Rob and Rhea, that's Reese and Rachel's, that's Mary and Jacob Leaf, that's Anna and Richard. Like, notice that Peter Kelly has stopped and she's focused her attention elsewhere, but there's all these leaders that are still going beyond her, and the business is ticking over. Everyone else is growing their own teams, right? So that's the one measure. So we all clear with that? One team rhythm, and we've got Isagenix events, so we can look in our back office and see how many people are in our downline. If you need help with that, let me know. And anything else you need will be on Isagenix events. And if you want to know how to help your people get started with the business, if you have anyone doing that, then the simplicity of getting people to help their first two people is here in Start Here, right? So again, maybe if you're kicking your business back into rhythm, then you might want to jump in and have a look at the new revamp of this, right? Because this is super simple. You know, the scripts, the sharing, say, share, do. So now it's changed again, right? There's IsaLife apps. It's becoming more and more refined. So if you stay in tune with this stuff becomes really, really easy. Cool bananas? And this is just learning to leverage the systems. If you leverage the systems, it becomes easy. If you recreate the systems, this becomes hard. Cool bananas? All right. Any questions, team?
Cool bananas. Thanks, Ross.
All right. Was that helpful? Was that valuable?
Yeah,
Very much so.
All right. And what, just from your point of view, guys, what would be helpful next week as if we did some sort of training to help you take more action, impact more people?
Now, I think personally, you know, I've got goals around the crystal reset. I think that's a beautiful little opportunity for us all to leverage. We kind of touched on that a little bit tonight about getting to exec. I think, you know, creating a strong why, a what and when around the crystal bonuses, you know, because who doesn't want a nice little bit of cash and building a team?
Yep, absolutely. I think that's really powerful, man. Is like, I think a lot of us have done a lot of work in our why. We're pretty heart-centered group, right? But now we just need a set of clear what by when. So if we're like, crystal reset gives us a date to achieve that. Now, if we believe that we tune in on that, then we can leverage the shit out of that. There's so much abundance in just that. But if we're not ready for that, then we can, you know, just keep maintaining, like say Paige, maybe the next 30 days is like you just like honing in on yourself and then create a traction of that. And then celebration happens. And all of a sudden you're in tune with this, the 30-day pre-launch. And then we've got 9 days of momentum. And like, that's when things really kick off for you, right? So, you know, it can be really simple if we plan it that way. So thanks for that, Cal. Ellie, Paige, anything else? What would be beneficial for you guys?
I don't know if
Sorry to interrupt. I got to bounce crew.
Yeah.
Love to you all.
Hey, Cal.
But I love when we're doing like the online webinars.
Yeah.
I think they're such a good tool to be inviting people to when you're speaking to people all the time. And I think it leverages you guys' time too, rather than being like, hey, can you do this 3-way call? Can you do this 3-way call? Can you do this 3-way call?
Yep.
So I'd love to like have some more consistency around those. And I'm happy to share my story and do that.
Yep. Well, how about if you, because the biggest challenge for me and Tully is we set them up, but I was just like we got Mylene that can set them up, but then communicating and like actually attracting people to that group. Like we spent a lot of time like setting it up and getting it going, but then by the set up and get going, like we hadn't actually had any time to go and like talk to people and invite them on. So what about if, you know, when we, off the back of celebration, we've got the March pre-launch and then we've got 9 days of consistency. If you want to have a chat with me and Tyler about how we could effectively do that. And then that way, if it's set in stone, there's a what and a when, and we can attract people to those webinars, then we can do it back to back to back, and then we can feed into them. And then all that happens is people like Paige have to go out and just talk to people like, hey, jump on this webinar. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Would you be up for that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I can do the systems, I can run the presentation, so can Tal. And if you're willing to share your story, we just need 3 other people, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm sure Paige and Ben would be happy to share their stories too.
Epic.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. And Paige, what about yourself? What would be really helpful for you?
Yeah, I think what Ellie said, for me, it's like actually, I find it really hard to like get people at the right time, like for leveraging people. So I think having a time and be like, oh, hey, there's this day, jump on the team call, and then it's live, rather than like sending them a recording, that kind of thing. Just getting them on live would be really helpful. And yeah, other than that, I think for me, it's just building my own belief in myself that I'll say the right things. Say I'll do the right things to talk to people. So it's like, I think for me, it's more like, because I've been in Isagenix for about 7 months and I haven't seemed to get anywhere. I think that's why my belief is so the other way. So I think for me, it's just building my belief that I can actually do it.
And like I said, like literally for you, the next 30 days is just literally focus on you. You know what I mean? Because the hardest thing is we can't serve and transcend ourselves until we've served and really helped ourselves, like in that sense. It's that concept, like to be able to like create a ripple effect, we need to be able to serve from overflow, right? So it's okay to take 30 days for yourself and just nail it. Like do it for you. Don't do it for Ben. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for Ellie. Don't do it so you can sell a product to anyone else. Do it for you. And then watch what happens from that space when you connect that piece of the puzzle, that piece of the puzzle. Energetically, you are just going to attract people. And then from there, you don't have to say or do anything. It's a feeling. And then all you have to do is know to handball them to Ellie, myself, or Tal, and then life becomes really easy, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
So is that cool? Does that take away a lot of the pressure of like starting a business and like all the rah-rah? You just got to tune into you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm here for health support as well. Like if you get any little emotional challenges or anything that like you find you self-sabotage or whatever, just know that that's normal and that's okay. But you know, whenever you feel that, rather than sitting in that and just accepting it, because you're going to a new level of Paige, you can give me or Ellie a call and have a chat with us about it. Is that cool?
Okay, I'll leverage up.
Cool. All right, I look forward to chatting with you about that. All righty. Epic, ladies. I'll see you same time next week, and I'll have a chat with Tyler about some things we can set in process. But start communicating that rhythm, and make sure you have a look at your back office and see how many people are coming to celebration, and see if we can change that number for this year and for next year. All right?
Cool.
Thanks, Ro. Thanks for your time.
All right.
No worries, guys. Peace out.
Yeah.